What is up, guys? RATPACK right here with another review. Today we'll be doing the review for Sausage Party. This is the one and only Stephanie.
Hi!
Stephanie is a freelance makeup artist in the New York City area, and she is also my girlfriend as well.
Yay.
So she'll be joining us today for the second review on this channel, which I'm very excited about, Sausage Party. We saw the movie today, and it was a great time. We had a good time. We saw it this afternoon, or actually this morning we saw a matinee showing.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd bring her on the channel, get your first glimpse of her. And so yeah, we'll be talking a little bit. I don't know if there's going to be really spoilers. I doubt anyone would highly care about spoilers.
Yeah.
Because it's a comedy, so... we'll be doing the review and whatnot. And so, first off, I like the review. You know, we saw the trailer a couple months back when the announcement trailer came out, and no one really expected it. It just kind of came out of nowhere. There were talks that, you know, Seth Rogen was working on an animated film, but no one really knew what it was about. And so once I saw the trailer drop, I knew immediately that, you know, sign me up. I'm very excited for this. It's an animated film, but it's like targeted towards adults.
Yeah. Very, very adult.
definitely not for kids.
Definitely not for kids.
Definitely
there
not for
was
kids.
a full-blown orgy at one point.
Yeah. It's an R-rated film. I liked the movie. I thought it was funny. I thought the cast was spot on. You know, if you don't really know, if you don't really read the cast list like before you go see the movie, I'm sure you'll pick up on the voices.
Absolutely.
A lot of people from, you know, This Is the End, Superbad, you know, people from Saturday Night Live. So they got like a lot of these comedians, you know.
The whole like main group of like people.
Yeah, the whole main group of like, you know, the Seth Rogen, Kristen Wiig, Jonah Hill, Bill Hader, Michael Cera, James Franco, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll, I had no idea. Edward Norton, Salma Hayek. So they also had some stars in there.
Salma Hayek, which I was really surprised
that was
about.
Random. I wasn't
that was
expecting
actually
that.
Pretty random.
That was very, very cool. I'm glad they got some like stars in there that aren't very familiar with comedies, let alone animation as well. The whole premise of the movie is that, you know, there's these groceries in this grocery store living, and they actually have like come to life. Like they have actual lives and they have thoughts and feelings, and so, you know, they had this idea that, you know, once they get picked up from the supermarket, they'd be taken out into, you know, the chosen one, like the kind of like the land of the abyss. Like no one knows what happens, but apparently it's like, you know, the gods choose you and you're like the chosen one.
It's actually really, really clever.
It is. It really is.
It's super clever. It's a lot more... It's way more clever than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be like a, you know, just a comedy, but it ended up having an actual, like, premise to it. There was a lot of, like, you know, really clever moments. And the whole, I guess, like, plot itself, like, being the chosen one and you know, hoping that this like great beyond is going to be, you know, amazing and worth it, and it ends up being their total demise, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cool because I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it was actually just going to be kind of just like whatever, you know, like they're going to make something fun out of this, but there was a lot of really cool ideas.
Yeah, there were some really, really, you know, there's a lot of like jokes and gags, and what got me was that they were very aware of, you know, themselves. That's what I really liked. You know, they weren't like, it wasn't just random dialogue. It was actually very witty. It was very punny.
Super witty.
You know, there's a lot of food puns. Like throughout the whole movie, there's tons of food puns.
With a specific character, though.
Yeah, with a lot of specific characters,
funny.
like ketchup and mustard and mustard and, you know, just all this queso and taco and...
But one of the characters that was like making these puns was a douche, like an actual douche, and he was a total douche.
And mind you, like I saw the douche character, and I before seeing that character, I had no idea what an actual douche is. I saw him and I thought he was a toilet brush.
I mean, as a female, I didn't
I mean, she knew what it was, but I had no idea what a douche is. I mean, and then she explained to me, like, no, the douche is, something to clean the...
Which is actually not really that great for you.
Yeah, the JJ, if you guys don't know.
I mean, we're talking about Sausage Party. Yeah,
so
the
vajay. So the douche ended up being like an actual douchebag. He ended up being like the actual antagonist, I guess, if you will, for the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know who actually played him.
He was drinking juice as like steroids.
Oh, Nick Kroll. Okay.
Oh my God! It would be Nick Kroll. I did not know it was him, but that totally would be.
Okay, so it was Nick Kroll. I was trying to put a voice to a face because I couldn't figure out who it was, but he did awesome. He was good.
Yeah.
But the animation was great. I'm trying to figure out what company it was that did the animation. It was let's see. What were you saying?
Well, I was just going to point out that, like, it was really cool to see, like, because every, like, food item, I guess, like, aisle was, like, kind of represented a nationality. Like, the tacos were, like, the Hispanic, you know what I mean? Like, it was, like, completely, like, reflective of, I guess, humanity in itself. Yeah. I mean, it totally is.
Yeah.
You know? But I thought that was really funny. At one point, they had, like, a tortilla, which...
It wasn't a tortilla. It was some sort of Muslim kind of pita bread.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember what it was. Actually, we can find it right here. It was the, so one guy was a bagel and he was Jewish.
And he was, Jewish. And they had a mutual friend, hummus, which is pretty funny.
And it was lavash. So apparently lavash is a type of, it's a type of thin, like, flatbread. It's very soft.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was a lavash, and then the other guy was Jewish, and he was a bagel.
And it was just like they were sworn enemies.
Yeah, they had the clashing.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I thought that was very, very clever.
Again, super clever. Like, I didn't really expect it to be this reflection on, humanity, but it totally was. It was so much more, I think, than a comedy, it was just kind of, like, poking fun at different religions and just, like, the idea of just hating one another for no reason, It was definitely more than a comedy. It was totally a, gosh, I want to think of the term, and I can't think of it right now, but...
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
So the people who did the animation, so it was Sony Pictures Imageworks who handled part of the animation, but then also some of it was done by Nitrogen Studios Canada. I'm not too familiar with their work. Let's see, they did God of War, apparently 2005, and every other one I'm not too familiar with, so it was a pretty solid animation. It was definitely its own style, especially when it came to the humans. Obviously with the food, it's very hard to kind of make your own animation with food, because it's such a, food is such like a, it has such a structure of it being one color, one shape, you can't really kind of make food animation kind of your own way or different. Obviously they did, but not to the point where you couldn't recognize what food it was. But I thought they did a good job as far as the people were concerned. They definitely had their own style of the animation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of cursing, which I thought did help the movie kind of.
I mean, a lot of just like sexual, I guess, like.
Yeah, a lot of
content.
A lot of sexual content, especially the last scene. I don't know about you, that kind of got me a little. It was a little awkward because
I liked it.
A lot of people liked it, but I was just like, okay, obviously the bun and the hot dog are gonna have the sausage, or they're gonna have sex. But then it just went on to this full-fledged orgy, and
because
I didn't see it coming. Like, it was like an orgy. Like, the lavash got in it, the bagel, the fucking sausage, the bun.
It is like the biggest like FU to like just like not accepting every kind of person and just kind of like being like, well, F you to that. Like, this is a sausage party. Like, know, which is like pretty funny and clever. I wasn't actually uncomfortable. I was just kind of like, yeah.
It just kept going, and I was just like,
yeah. I mean, it was a little too long.
It was a little too long.
It could have been shorter.
Yeah.
It could have been shorter, and I definitely wouldn't watch this with anybody that would be prude, like any prude person. Like,
I can kind of tell that the people behind us weren't really laughing a lot.
I think they were a family.
I don't think they were a family.
No,
it was just a couple.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was just a couple.
I thought it was like, oh, they were kind of old men.
No, it was a couple. I know
Prudes.
they weren't laughing much, and so I kind of figured,
Why you gonna go?
Maybe they're laughing inside, or maybe they just
laughing inside.
Laughing inside. Maybe it wasn't like laugh out loud like we did, but maybe they were just like ha ha.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but
it was a matinee. We had practically the whole theater to ourselves.
It was early. It was like 11 a.m. So we got up a little earlier to see that. But overall, I thought it was a great movie. I know it had a pretty big box office weekend. It made easily close to $40 million. And Rotten Tomatoes gave it actually a pretty solid review. It
was good.
Yeah, they gave it an 82 rating, which was great. And honestly, it was great. I haven't read anything or heard anything bad. People have said bad about it.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I was expecting something like Ted, where it was going to be crude humor and it was going to be funny and whatever. But actually, it was so much more than that. It was clever. It was witty. There were like really cool themes, and they kind of said big FUs to religion and like not accepting everybody for who they are, which is I thought was brilliant.
Yeah,
so.
It definitely was much more appealing to say the crude humors of like Ted. Yes, part of it's animation and part of it's real. But it's full animation, and immediately when you think of animation, you think of kids' movies or kids' TV shows.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, they actually made an animation movie for adults, and it's pretty
well, it's like, like Family Guy.
Yeah, like Family Guy and stuff, so I'm glad that, they picked Seth Rogen for someone to make it. Because if anyone was to make an animated adult movie, I'd probably hit up the guys Seth Rogen and
absolutely
the Evan Goldbergs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So overall, great movie. I'd probably give it probably like a 5 out of 5, or like, yeah. I thought it was great. There was nothing really bad about it.
No.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and just like, don't bring anybody that's gonna be a prude. Bring some funny people, have a good time, and it's a good movie.
So definitely check it out, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, hit the share, like, and subscribe button. I want to thank Stephanie for being here. You can actually follow her on Instagram, I believe Twitter as well, Facebook. It's at THEPAINTEDPISTOL. You can follow her makeup account as well. So check her out as well. And thank you so much for watching, guys. There's definitely some more reactions and reviews coming up now that we have a couple of new trailers that came out this past weekend. So definitely stay tuned for those, and we will catch you later.